Actually, John, the amount that we distribute to the schools is money that the state then doesn't have to send to the schools. So that's probably where you're getting the confusion. We actually allocate it to the schools, so the state doesn't have to allocate it.
Okay.
And then the last final supplemental document that I just provided, a vacancy report as of that particular date, just for your information.
Okay.
That's it. Does the board have any questions? One final note before it goes back over to Allison. Supervisor Delbar, in answer to your question, the contingency fund, the contingency budget unit did in fact have an error. The summary report within the contingency budget unit, the summary schedule 9 reflects 500,000. The detailed budget unit reflected 200,000. The 200,000 is incorrect. 500 is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, in our continuing budget saga here, what you have in front of you is a grid that I very quickly did over lunchtime that was off of the list that I had generated in my notes compared with what Christy had in her list and Jennifer, and so tried to get some answers to it real quickly, and I'd like to go down them, and then doesn't mean you can't ask more questions, but I thought I'd at least take care of the ones that we knew about. So on the budget unit 1930, we indicated staff will add material, explanatory material, and more information on the balance to the budget unit 1930 narrative. The contingency fund discrepancy in numbers, Jennifer just addressed that. The number has now been changed to 345,000, and that's part of the spreadsheet that you're looking at. Interest on teeter for 2008-9, staff is figuring out it's actually budgeted at 700,000. Last year it was $1 million. We're thinking that 700,000 may cover it because of the additional revenues that we expect to have in this year. So technically, with putting the revenues directly into budget unit 1930, the interest is covered. What's not happening is additional payment down on the principal. However, if you wanted to look at the interest being paid out of solely the general fund contribution that comes through the amortization schedule, then you would look at the fact that right now we're putting in 200,000 from the general fund, and so we would be $500,000 short of paying the interest with general fund money. So that's the answer. You've got a number of ways you can go with it, but that's how it would be looked at. So technically there's enough to cover it in there, but if you want the interest paid exclusively out of general fund and not out of the teeter proceeds themselves, then it would be 700,000, of which we have 200,000 budgeted. So,
Supervisor Delmar?
Thank you. The teeter proceeds, that's the 5 million whatever.
yeah, well, that consists of about 2.5 million in revenues and 2.6 million that was supposed to be the general fund repayment.
Of that 5 million, though, how much of that was the interest and penalties that we were receiving?
The 2.5 million.
The 2.5.
Yes.
So I guess I'm having trouble using that to cover the interest expense for the past decisions.
And that's a valid way of looking at it.
So if we were to not do that, we're 500,000 short.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Then there was the issue of eliminating the travel allocation for third district supervisor. That's something that you can do in your budget deliberations, and at the point at which a majority of you say yes, then that would be reflected in the spreadsheet.
Supervisor.
I'm not saying to eliminate that. My point is, I don't think I need that, because I have no plans on going much out of Mendocino County. But what I'd like to see that money is reside in either the Board of Supervisors budget or the clerk of the board. For instance, throughout the year we have little issues. For instance, somebody passes away or something, and we need to buy a bouquet of flowers, or somebody retires or something. Just a little bit of a pot of money for special things like that. Or maybe if we invite, say, county councils from out of the county, or executive officers from neighboring counties or something, to take them to lunch or something, we need a little money there. So it's my intention to use that $4,000 for that, because frankly, you know, what happens is lots of times if somebody needs to be bought a bouquet of flowers or something, Christy takes it out of her own pocket and buys it, and that's not I think it's an appropriate expense, a board expense, to have a little bit of a fund there for that. So it's not really to remove that, you know, whether it resides in the clerk of the board's budget or